get here? Huh?
Hello, everybody. This is Jay, and welcome back to our program, which is called How Did I Get Here? For everyone new, our concept is How Did I Get Here? Where we live our best lives on the internet and come out the other side knowing more, but not feeling smarter, like at all. At all. I am your host, Jay. Welcome. Applause. Dan, you're my soundboard today. Applause. Nice. Before we begin, please remember to subscribe to the podcast. And also, ladies and gentlemen, absolutely crucial, monumental to the growth of this podcast, please, reviews, please. Am I begging too much? She says it's okay, I swear. Please, reviews. I don't know what this is. They told me to do it. Okay. And also, with the reviews, check out our videos. We obviously always have clips and little funny segments that you guys may enjoy on youtube.com/dive studios. And of course, subscribe with notifications on. Moving forward, how has your week been? Has it been good? Have you been pondering things throughout your week? Have there been questions that have been unfilled, unanswered throughout your week? I bet there has been. This is the time that we figure those things out. Not the question that you were thinking about, not the question that I was thinking about, the question that Diane was thinking about. We are going to figure those out today. Let's get into it. Okay. I didn't ask for a clap. Did I ask for a clap? You may now clap. Thank you. Okay. Our question for today is actually really interesting. I was cracking up while Diane was telling me about it. It is called... Dude, this can't be real. This is real, okay. The question is, did Barbra Streisand clone her dog in South Korea? What does that even mean? A lot of you may be wondering, who is Barbra Streisand? A lot of you may be wondering, who is Barbra Streisand? Is that really how you say it? Oh, so interesting. Mandela effect. Mandela effect. Woo! Barbra Streisand was an actor in the... One second. Okay, there we go. She is an American singer as well as an actress and a filmmaker. She was an actor and singer. And that is how we came to know of Barbra Streisand. She's really famous, actually. I didn't know too many of her works, but then I heard her name in that one EDM song that goes Barbra Streisand, boom, 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 boom. That song. So that's kind of how I got my introduction to her. And then I realized that she was in some of the movies that, everybody loves, right? And yeah, basically she was a singer and she was an actor. And today the question is, once again, did Barbra Streisand clone her dog in South Korea? I didn't even know cloning was a real thing yet. Clothing's a real thing, it actually exists. Dude, you're lying. There's no way. I mean, the internet's the internet, man. I don't know. I've learned to not trust the internet until there's factual proof. You know what I mean? So I really don't know how to dissect the sentence. Did Barbra Streisand clone her dog in South Korea? The cloning's weird, and why South Korea? Let's get into it. Okay. This is from the New York Times. Barbra Streisand cloned her dog for $50,000. You can clone yours. That's crazy. Okay. Barbra Streisand revealed in an interview that 2 of her 3 Kpop de Tuileries. Was that a super American accent of it? Okay. Kpop de Tuileries had been cloned from her beloved late dog Samantha, who died last year at the age of 14. That's crazy. Dude, that means, the original pet may pass away. And, there's obviously going to be emotional feelings. But if you can clone a dog, doesn't that mean sometime in the future, we're going to be able to clone human beings? Because they're biological creatures, right? If you can clone human beings, then... No, but watch. Real question. Bow. If you die and your clone survives, are you still alive? Call Tableau. Call him right now. Call Tableau. Ask him the question. That's so interesting. Wow, interview with Variety. Miss Streisand revealed that 2/3 Coton de Tuileries dogs were clones. Specifically, the magazine reported that the dogs Miss Violet and Miss Scarlet have been cloned from cells taken from the mouth and stomach of Miss Streisand's late dog Samantha, who was 14 when she died last year. That's so crazy. But some facts for y'all, the more you know. Miss Violet and Miss Scarlet have different personalities. So is it really a clone then, or is it just like a... Because I feel like dogs, they look very similar. So how could you know that it's a clone? What if they asked for 50K and they went to the shop and then they bought similar dogs, Cologne de Tuileries, and they brought you 2 Cologne de Tuileries? How would you know? You wouldn't. I'm so confused now. Okay. All right, continuing on. Because they have different personalities. I'm waiting for them to get older so I can see if they have her brown eyes and her seriousness. I think I'm gonna pass on. I'm just gonna take her word for it. The eye colors are the same. It says, even if you are not a close follower of clones, you may recall Dolly the sheep, who was born in 1996. Since then, researchers have cloned about 24 other mammal species, including cattle, deers, horses, rabbits, cats, rats, and yes, dogs. Oh, so it's a real thing. South Korean researchers announced that they had cloned a dog for the first time in 2005 after almost 3 years of work and more than 1,000 eggs. With help from a yellow Labrador retriever who served as a surrogate mother, a cloned male Afghan hound named Snuppy was born. Snuppy, of course, stood for Seoul National University puppy. That's so crazy. Yo, ladies and gentlemen, we are on the brink of being able to clone ourselves. But like, what does that mean for humanity? That's so interesting. Wow. Okay. And then obviously the most important thing is going to be cost in order to make it functional for everybody. And it's saying both articles say Sound Biotech charged about $100,000 to attempt the process. Wow. V Again Pets, a company based in Texas, says it charges $50,000 for the cloning or $1,600 to merely preserve your pet's genes. So that's crazy. So that means it's actually viable. I mean, $100,000 for an attempt is kind of impractical. But I'm saying, like, technology advances so quickly that maybe in 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, like, it's gonna be feasible, right? It's gonna be like a payable amount. That's so interesting. Wow, okay, so Barbara Streisand really cloned her dog and soul. The more you know. So we were talking about human clones, right? Okay, so here's an article on Discover about it. Cloning's long legacy while it'll never be used on humans. Interesting. Okay, so for some, the image was a bit too close for comfort. Long before Dolly the sheep was cloned, almost 23 years ago, science fiction writers have fantasized about armies of lookalikes wiping out the rest of humanity, or clones bred solely to sustain their identical ancestors. The idea of clones is unsettling because it violates the fundamental moral understanding that we're all different and equally valuable. Does it though? Oh, because then, like, if cloning became accessible to everybody and you made a clone, then that means I need Tableau. I really need Tableau here. Please. I want to meet you, bro. I'm such a fan. Anyway, cloning group. Prominent scientists involved in cloning say they've never had any intention of replicating a person and are wary of the idea as everyone else. So research serves other purposes. Investigations onto cloning have been divided into 2 areas. So a really, really big area probably would be reproductive cloning, mainly to improve livestock breeding, and therapeutic cloning aimed at growing cells, not whole humans, that can be used to treat diseases. They were talking about this with stem cells too. So that means they would just be able to clone an organ, like a healthy organ, and then that means transplants wouldn't be a problem, right? Maybe I'm thinking about it like too lightly. Anyway, moving on. Let's focus on the positive. But they're saying it's possible. It's just that it's unsettling for human beings. But is it really unsettling for human beings? I don't know.
Would you want a clone of yourself?
I don't know. That's really weird. Because then, like, if I am able to clone myself, that wouldn't really even be me, though, right? Because he would have a different consciousness from me. Okay, so I guess that kind of brings us back to the question of, would you make a clone if you were capable of it? Like, I know in the article it says like it's 100K right now. But I mean, let's take it like 20, 30, 40, 50, even 100 years into the future, right? If you can make a clone That means you can transplant your organs infinitely. That means you could live forever, right? But then we come to the question of, what about the human rights involved in that? You have to generate the whole body, and then you would have to take the organs from that. But then once the whole body's there, and it's an adult, right? I'm assuming that it's gonna be generated as an adult. Does that person not have human rights? It just goes so deep, right? Because then, like, what about the clone? What if you clone the clone's clone? Does that clone become a clone, or is that now an individual because of the fact that it was two clones and two negatives make a positive? Know what I mean? Thank you, Eric. Thank you. I appreciate that. Diane just sits there. She doesn't give me nothing. Okay. Okay. But anyway, straight from that, I guess going to a more casual topic. If you had a clone, I feel like if it was somehow proven to me that that's okay, it's legitimate, it's humane, then I feel like, I don't know, it's a hard question. But I mean, that's what I'm saying. You could save time, you could save lives. It may be a pro, but it's also kind of a con. It's iffy. It's weird.
But is it worth spending like $100,000 to clone your pet? Does the price make sense to you?
I mean, because, see, that's sentimental value. And let's say, I mean, obviously, if you're a normal family in America, what does a normal family generate? Like 50, 60K a year? And then if you're trying to pay 100K for a pet at that point, I feel like most people would be like, that's ludicrous. That's crazy, right? But then if you're like a multi-millionaire and then you have a lot of sentimental attachments like a pet, then like, wouldn't it be feasible, like possible? People spend hundreds of thousands on cars and hobbies and accessories. Like, wouldn't you be able to spend that amount of money on something that you've exerted that much emotion into?
But do you think it should be more expensive or less expensive? Or do you think it's just the right amount?
That's so hard, because I'm assuming that if this becomes like a normal thing, it's gonna become cheaper, right? As technology progresses, it's gonna get cheaper. It's gonna become more normal. And once it's normalized, people might start doing it. That's so weird, though. Imagine never being worried about your pet passing away, or like if it gets sick, just not even worrying, not even caring. That might desensitize a lot of things. What happens to the soul? Like a pet, right? So if you have a clone, is the soul transferred out? You think you think if you ever clone yourself, like it would just be another entity, or like half your consciousness would be transferred to it? So that could be a thing, because if you weren't aware of it, then that means your new consciousness that transfers in would be you, technically. But then the real you would be gone. That's so trippy. Okay, let's not dig any deeper. I'm going a little bit crazy. But anyway, for the topic, we started at cloning, right? Yes, it is true. Barbara Streisand cloned her dogs in South Korea for $50,000. Fact! All right, that is it for the question, and we're gonna now move on to some of your questions. We've answered Diane's questions about life. It is now time to reciprocate your support and answer some of yours that you guys send us through SNS or other social medias. Also, if you ever want to submit questions, please submit them through a comment or a mention on Twitter at Jae_day6, or is it day6_J? It's one of those. And the Instagram is EAJPARK. And these are your questions for today. The first one comes from NOCHU. Do you wash your belly button? Serious question. And Changbin Man commented, out here asking the real questions. Real questions indeed. Do you wash your belly button? Do you wash your belly button? Doesn't it like get weird though? Like it's like red and like it hurts. And I tried washing it like when I was younger, and then like it would get like super red and it would hurt a lot. And I thought that's just what it was supposed to be, right? And then my mom saw my belly button one day, and she was like, "Why is it so red?" And it was like oozing a little bit. Yeah, cause like when you dig, you gotta go deep. You know what I mean? Like when you clean, you gotta do it right. Exactly. You gotta pinky around in there. Eric knows what I'm talking about. But right. So and then it started doing that. My mom was like, "You don't touch your belly button," and after that, I never did. But I didn't know if that was a thing. Cause when I first cleaned my belly button when I was like super young, It was pretty nasty, dude. Not gonna lie. It's pretty nasty.
What'd you find in there?
Don't worry about it. Next question. Next question is coming from Kyla Janine. Day 25 of tweeting questions for Jae. How does it feel having Instagram? Okay, so for those of you who don't know, on January 1st, me and my teammates all made personal Instagrams. And that's been kind of interesting. I haven't really used Instagram like that in years. So I've been like trying to learn how to do the stories and the lives, right? Those are what it's called, right? The stories. Stories are kind of interesting. I don't know, like these days, I'm a little bit afraid just because I'm trying to be more careful. So like even before like I just retweet yes or like no, I sit there and type no like 5 times over and over. And I just sit there and look at it. And I'm thinking, is this okay? Is this gonna be okay? Like I'm just sitting there for literally 5 minutes and then I end up releasing or not. But yeah, Instagram's been a trip. I feel like I'm learning it a little bit. We're coming back to the groove. Everyone's posting a little bit more. We're happy to be back. For sure, for sure.
Who do you follow on Instagram?
I follow nobody but my members. Isn't that like how it is with most groups though?
Who has the best Instagram so far?
Come on. Rhetorical question. Come on.
Who has the worst Instagram so far?
Well, actually, I guess that's debatable. Well, Wampir opened his Instagram but didn't post anything for a couple of days. So that was weird. Doan posted since the beginning, but he's been posting like random just pictures of his like cats and dogs, and that's okay. But yeah, I think it might be either Doan or Wampir. Or it could be Sungji. Sungji doesn't even have one. He just has a Twitter. You know what he does on Twitter? All he does, he does one tweet every day, and it's a lunch menu or like a dinner menu. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was so confused.
It's wild. It's great though. It's wild though. Yeah. So yeah, up to your discretion. Honestly, guys, I don't know if I'm making any sense. I hope this is educating you just a little bit. The viewpoints are the viewpoints, but like the information in general. Cause like, dude, if I was listening to a podcast and someone said Barbara Streisand cloned her dogs in South Korea, I'd be like, that's gotta be a lie. It's too specific. $50,000 for a dog clone, that's crazy. But turns out to be true. I hope this was as educational for you as it was for me. All right, anyway, I hope that wraps up some of your questions about cloning. Those were my opinions. I'm sure there could be people who have different ones. Please, please, please let me know what yours are in the comments below. In the reviews. Reviews super important. That's what Diane said. Anyway, this was your host, Jae. If you guys haven't already, please follow DAISE Studios on IG and Twitter at the DAISE Studios. Also, visit youtube.com/DAISE Studios for your clips and daily sources of entertainment and spice from DAISE Studios. Also, follow me at JAE_DAY6 as well as EAJPARK on Instagram. Subscribe and review. We'll see you next time. Bye. Ladies and gentlemen, did you enjoy that content? If you did, there is more. Please download the full podcast on Spotify as well as Apple Podcasts. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel at DAISE Studios. Don't forget to turn notifications on to hear and see all your favorite clips as fast as possible.